mechanical. I once drove from Seattle to New York with my emergency brake on, 3,000 miles. Greyhound fired my ass right after that. I don't like flying around very much. Now, the club was very nice when we came in on Thursday night, and they had a limo to meet me at the airport, and the driver was Danny, not the brightest kind. I got off the plane, he's holding up a big sign with his name on it. I had come to New York, as I said previously, and I don't like flying very much. It was typically. Flight attendant, could you make it a little bit colder in here? I can still move my toes. And it was about 6 o'clock in the evening, so naturally everybody got one of those little prisoner of war TV dinners. And afterwards, the flight attendant came around with a complimentary after-dinner mint. Oh, no thanks, I couldn't eat another bite. The same thing happened, it always happens anytime I have lunch or dinner on an airplane. I burn my tongue on one of those piping hot rolls. Why don't they put a warning on those things? And fresh? Oh, yeah! I think the last time that roll saw in the oven was about 63, something like that. It's a good trick to find the flight attendant. When she brings around your dinner, stand up and yell, I didn't order this and I'm not paying for it. After dinner, I'm trying to take a nap, but I can't do it because a little kid right behind me is getting into the Guinness Book of World Records by opening and closing his tray table 1,000 times a minute. And I get back to New York, and of course I spare no expense. I stayed at the Loud Maid Motel. I think the one thing everybody looks for in a motel, plastic drinking glasses, especially when they've been bolted down and you have to slurp like a dog. Here's something that bothers me. I like elderly people unless they brag about their age. Look at me! I'm 94 years old! Well, good. That means you'll be passing away soon. Hey, let's talk about death, because I always felt sorry for Mr. Bojangles because his dog upped and died. Well, it's bad enough when a pet passes away, but when he ups and then dies. What about people, you're talking, you're having a conversation about death and somebody's real condescending. There's nothing to be afraid of. Death is a part of life. Yeah, I know, the last part. Here's something that's bothered me all my life. You know, those 4 little knobs at the base of your toilet. There's 2 in back, 2 in front. What the hell are those things, and how come they're always loose? And why is that brown stuff always on them, and how did it get down there? How about this, when you get out of the shower, start to blow dry your hair, but after just a few seconds you turn off the hair dryer, because it produces some kind of a noise which makes you think you heard the phone ring? The hell is that? This happens every day. Somebody calls me, I'm not there. They leave a message, I call them back, they're not there. I get their secretary, their answering service. I say, this is George, I'm returning Mr. Baker's phone call. They always say the same thing. Does Mr. Baker have your number? No, he called me the first time with a series of wild stabs. Anything that's too stupid, I don't especially care for now. A couple true stories, no jokes. When I first went to California, I went to a real cheap hotel, and I said to the desk clerk, can I leave a wake-up call for 11? The guy actually said this, 11 o'clock? I said, no, 11 a chicken. And the single dumbest thing I've ever heard, this was on the national news, maybe you heard this. Some people in the Southwest, I think it was, sued the police department because on television the police say if you have an emergency, dial 911. These people had an emergency. They claimed they couldn't dial 911. You know why? They couldn't find 11 on the phone dial. Are these the same people who want to take one-a-day vitamins, but they can't figure out the dosage? Is it the same people? I don't like those simplistic quizzes they have in those romantic magazines. Do you depend exclusively upon your mate for your happiness? Well, no, she lets me do it with her sister, too. I don't like getting older. I'll be honest with you, I'm at the age now I can't always satisfy a woman, but with my behavior, I can usually get her out of the mood. If you don't appreciate that, you will in a few years. Okay. Are you guys like me, boy? If I'm in the doghouse, I'll be such a worm, I'll say anything to get out of the doghouse. Gee, honey, you know, this is silly. I don't even remember what we were fighting about. You pushed my parents off the Empire State Building. Oh, yeah, I forgot all about that. Your mother really sailed, as I recall. So this friend of mine comes over. You know how friends get too personal? We're talking about men and women. He says, listen, have you ever done it with two women? I said, no, not even separately. So then, he said, I got somebody I want you to meet. I said, is she attractive? He said, she's very nice. And we know what that means. They eat the blue oxes in town. I said, no, she's very nice. Her name is Mandy. I said, oh yeah, Mandy. She came and she gave without taking, didn't she? Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, so I go over there, and, you know, I'm not a male chauvinist, but boy, this is a double whammy, because she's real obnoxious and had the widest mouth I ever saw. She said, well, what are we going to do tonight? I said, gee, I don't know. Why don't we go bob for watermelons? Well, she seemed a little masculine. We bought some potato chips, and she tore them open with her teeth, so, yeah, and they were Pringles, so I was... One more blind date story. This woman was a knockout. She's really attractive. I didn't think she's too interesting. It was all that textbook talk. Those kind of conversations you have about wants and needs and goals. She said, tell me a couple of your goals. I said, well, I want to have sex with you and then leave. I was married for a long time, and after many years, my wife presented me with a beautiful 9-pound baby boy, and I want to tell you something, I couldn't have been any more proud if that little guy had been my own child. Hey, you know the woman I always wanted to meet? Sybil. All those different personalities, 16, 17 different personalities. I always wanted to meet Sybil so I could say to her, who the hell do you think you are? Hey, I got a new sexual etiquette book, a lot of do's and don'ts I wasn't familiar with. After making love, the man should never say to the lady, okay, Gertrude, that ought to hold you for a while. Don't say that, that's not nice. Did you see Elvis and Me a couple months ago on television? I'm a big Elvis fan. As I watched, of course, I took a whole bunch of different kinds of drugs. I know Elvis would have wanted it that way. Let's talk about marijuana. You ever get real high and go to the supermarket and wish Campbell's soups were in alphabetical order? Yeah! Thank you. You ever smoke a lot of dope and you order out for your food and you're real high, so when they bring the food and pound on your door, it scares the hell out of you? Pizza man becomes Gestapo nut? I think grass affects your hearing. Get real high and eat some grape nuts. It sounds like you're in the war. And the late bulletin, just handed to me before I came on stage, late bulletin, the Surgeon General has warned, do not smoke pot and then try to find something you've misplaced. You could go insane. Well, you had a head start to begin with, so I can... Maybe it's not because they had a big murder trial on the West Coast. They figured that every member of the jury was smoking weed because they deliberated for 6 days and found the defendant tall. Hey, I used to have this friend named Joe. Everybody knows somebody. They say, well, what have you been up to today, Joe? It's always the same thing. Well, I got up today. I took some speed and I kind of wired up. So I smoked some grass and I mellowed out. And a while ago, I took a red and I went to sleep for a while. Woke up a few minutes ago at 9 drinking some beer, scotch, and wine. I said, boy, there just aren't enough hours in the day, aren't there, Joe? I finally had to give him a lecture. I said, Joe, drugs are not the answer. Life is the answer. Take a look around. You got to stop and snort the roses. I went to California. I didn't know anything about drug terminology. I said to somebody, he said, where'd you go on your vacation? He said, up my nose. I said, damn, who was your travel agent? Or he's heard about somebody had an overdose of PCP, an overdose. Does this mean there's a right amount we should be taking?